On the next episode of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, the team discovers new clues about the bubble. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, Season 6, Episode 9, airs at 8 p.m. Tuesday, July 29, on the History Channel. The July 29 episode is called Darting Around. The synopsis is, when the team flies a cutting-edge radar device high above Skinwalker Ranch, it reveals shocking new clues about the bubble and what may be inside the mesa. The sun dipped behind the jagged cliffs of Utah's Uinta Basin, casting an amber glow across the infamous stretch of land known as Skinwalker Ranch. The air seemed charged, as though the desert itself were holding its breath, waiting. Within the fenced compound, the investigative team gathered near the east field, their faces lit by the glow of laptops and the rhythmic pulse of radar screens. Something extraordinary was happening beneath them, something no one could explain. The uneasy stillness for weeks, the crew had been tracking strange electromagnetic surges and a shimmering distortion that appeared at unpredictable intervals above a particular patch of soil. Travis Taylor, the ranch's resident physicist, had described it as a bubble of unknown energy. It would flare up suddenly, distort light, then vanish like a mirage. Cattle avoided the area. Even the team's drones malfunctioned when approaching it. The bubble mystery had captivated every member of the crew. Eric Bard, the chief technologist, had been recording fluctuating signals in multiple frequency bands. The readings indicated a kind of spatial compression, anomalous enough to suggest the laws of physics might briefly warp there. Brandon Fugel, the ranch's owner, pushed for deeper exploration. Tonight, that exploration would begin with the most advanced ground-penetrating radar they had ever deployed. The equipment's Atupa specialized radar array, recently delivered from a defense contractor, stood poised like an alien insect over the dusty ground. Its twin antennas rotated slowly, sweeping the field with invisible waves. Thick cables snaked back to the command truck, where computers hummed quietly. As the first sweeps began, an eerie hum echoed through the desert. The radar emitted a rhythmic thrum, sending pulses deep beneath the surface. Data began scrolling across the monitors, vibrant, color-coded scans of subterranean layers. At first, everything appeared normal. The radar picked up sandstone formations, pockets of clay, and traces of water. Then, something changed. The distortion zoned the radar image warped violently, as if the ground itself had turned liquid. Colored bands twisted into spirals, their edges rippling. A red blot appeared, a dense, spherical anomaly about 12 feet below the surface. The computers struggled to interpret the signal, flashing multiple error codes. "Whatever it is," Travis muttered, "it's interfering with the radar's feedback loop." The technicians recalibrated the frequency, but the anomaly responded in kind, almost intelligently. When they increased the radar's amplitude, the bubble expanded, its outline swelling across the screen. When they reduced the power, it contracted again, like a living organism reacting to touch. Eric noted another disturbing detail. Radiation levels near the site were spiking intermittently. A Jagger counter clicked faster each time the radar emitted a pulse. The pressure built outside. The air pressure seemed to drop. The crew felt their ears pop. Cameras positioned around the area began to glitch, displaying static and color bleed. Then, a faint, shimmering dome became visible to the naked eye, a translucent distortion hovering just above the ground, mirroring the radar's image almost exactly. The men stood frozen, staring at it. It rippled like heat over asphalt, but this was different. It pulsed, rhythmically, in tune with the radar's emissions. Brandon, standing back near the truck, ordered everyone to keep a safe distance. yet no one moved. Curiosity anchored them. Travis adjusted his readings. The radar now detected multiple concentric shells within the bubble. Each shell resonated at a slightly different frequency, suggesting layered energy fields. "It's not just air distortion," he said quietly. "It's a structured phenomenon, a field geometry." Their first contact without warning, the dome flared. A deep vibration rippled through the ground. The radar equipment emitted a screeching tone, and the data feed froze. A wave of static washed over every monitor. Then the entire area plunged into silence. No wind, no insects, just stillness. Seconds later, a shockwave of electromagnetic interference rippled outward, tripping sensors across the ranch. Cameras went black. The team's radios burst with garbled voices and static. One phrase seemed to echo repeatedly through the distortion: "Leave it be." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. They had heard strange transmissions before, voices and mechanical tones, but never this, clear, never synchronized with an event. The aftermath as the team reset their equipment, the shimmering dome began to fade. The air temperature dropped by nearly 10 degrees in under a minute. A thin mist rose from the soil. Beneath the spot where the bubble had hovered, the radar showed something even more unsettling: a large, hollow chamber extending at least 30 feet underground. The formation appeared to be perfectly spherical, its walls reflecting radar waves like polished metal. Yet ground-penetrating radar couldn't normally bounce off natural cavities in such a uniform way. It looked artificial. Brandon immediately halted digging. The last time they disturbed such an area, team members had suffered mysterious illnesses, burns, nausea, even memory lapses. The decision was made. No excavation until they understood the energy interaction. The data review back in the command center, Eric and Travis pored over the recordings. The anomaly seemed to generate harmonic frequencies that matched Schumann resonance patterns, global electromagnetic oscillations of Earth itself. Somehow, the bubble was tuned to planetary frequencies. "This isn't a random field," Eric said, pointing to the graphs. "It's synchronized. It's behaving like a self-organizing system." They theorized that the phenomenon might represent a form of plasma, a standing wave of energy confined by magnetic fields. Others suggested something stranger: a localized warp in space-time. Either way, it defied current science. The Ancient Connection later, historian Jim Segala revisited indigenous accounts tied to the region. He found references to luminous spheres that would appear in the desert, humming and distorting the night air. The Ute tribes described them as spiritual gateways, places where the physical and the spiritual worlds overlapped. What if the radar had simply awakened something ancient? The energy field might not be new. It might have been dormant, waiting for the right resonance to activate. The radar pulses, high frequency and rhythmic, could have acted like a key turning in a lock. The second experiment, despite Brandon's caution, the scientific drive to understand the phenomenon was irresistible. 2 nights later, the team conducted a controlled follow-up experiment using lower frequencies. They also set up magnetometers, thermal sensors, and laser scanners to detect physical changes. As the radar warmed up, the same spot began to flicker faintly again. Cameras captured a faint bluish haze forming above the soil. Within minutes, the haze coalesced into a perfect dome. But this time, they noticed something new: a slight distortion inside the bubble. Laser scans revealed a spherical void with moving shadows, though nothing tangible appeared. Eric compared the optical distortion to a mirage caused by refraction through varying densities of air, but the readings showed no temperature gradient to explain it. Then, abruptly, The magnetometers went wild. The magnetic field within the bubble spiked to twice Earth's normal level, then dropped to zero. The oscillation continued in rhythmic waves. The unexpected visitor suddenly, a figure appeared on the thermal camera feed, just outside the bubble's perimeter. It was humanoid in shape, but emitted no detectable heat signature. The team rushed outside, their night vision goggles scanning the darkness. The figure was gone. Yet the sensors confirmed its brief presence. The field distortion had intensified precisely during that moment, suggesting the entity, or whatever it was, had triggered a response. The energy bubble pulsed faster, humming audibly now. The radar output overloaded, forcing them to shut down the system. Within seconds, the bubble collapsed entirely, leaving only silence once more. The theory back in the lab, the team debated endlessly. Some believed they had interacted with an unknown natural plasma form, perhaps a phenomenon involving piezoelectric effects and subsurface gas pockets reacting to the radar waves. Others believed the anomaly represented a genuine portal event, an interdimensional interface triggered by electromagnetic resonance. The most radical theory came from Travis himself. What if the bubble wasn't just responding to the radar, but learning from it? He suggested that the anomaly might be an intelligent energy field capable of adaptive feedback, a kind of sentient plasma. The final revelation in the following days, the ranch's surveillance data, revealed something astonishing. Every time the radar array had been used, the bubble's reappearance corresponded to electromagnetic surges across other parts of the ranch, particularly near Homestead 2, a hotspot of previous activity.